Hey Scorpio, welcome to your October reading. Welcome to Libra season and happy birthday to all of you October Scorpios. It's actually October 1st as I'm filming this, which is really special, and the perfectionist in me, the Empress first card out, really had hoped to have all the videos done by now and up, and that plan just did not go well. No matter how many times I sat down and tried to force it, it just was not clicking. And of course, because I tried to fight it, I just frustrated myself. And I'm not gonna lie and say that the energy moving into October has been a little frustrating for us. I feel like we've been robbing ourselves of a little bit of joy finishing out September going into October. I think with the Empress card, we really have been in this space and we've been feeling like the Empress for quite a bit, which is really nice because I feel like consistently feeling like the Empress is something that when you're so empathic and so reactive to other people's vibes and energy, maintaining this space is a feat. And I think right now we're kind of sabotaging it a little bit. Like I said, I knew that the energy just wasn't vibing, but yet I was trying to force myself to do it because like that part of me that just wants to like ram through it because like no, like it has no choice but to work right now, you know, and obviously it didn't. And it only made me feel more frustrated. Next card. Knight of Cups. The Magician. October, though, has such a new energy because it is the first, and it's also the night of the full moon. So there's a lot going on right now. Full moon in Aries tonight. The Knight of Cups, I think, is you extending yourself that peace and that emotional like stability that you've been robbing yourself from the last few days of September leading into October. I think the fact of the matter is right now you have a lot of energy at your disposal. You have a lot of built up energy that you can transmute right now. A lot of past experiences, a lot of past thought patterns, a lot of things that you have been wondering what their place holds in your life now, and you realize that for some of it, it's just firewood for you to burn through. It's not, you'll realize that some things in your life were just placeholders and were never actually meant to, like, how do I explain this? Like certain things in your life that you may have thought were valuable to you, you may be finding out now that in reality it was never the thing that you were supposed to hold value to. It's what the transmutation of that thing into the next thing is the reason why it was in your life. Does this make sense? Okay, I hope it does. That's what the Magician is really screaming to me. That's the type of energy that October is really full of. And we have the full moon on the 1st of the month, full moon on the 31st. So there's this like lunar encapsulating energy that's going on. And there's a lot of built up, stored up, even when I say stored up, it can give off the implication that like there's a reserve that you're consciously aware of. That's not what I'm talking about. I think there are things that are like remnants, like little thought patterns that really have no place in your day-to-day life anymore. Could be a belief in yourself. you know? Like, you may be feeling really confident right now, and there was a time where you weren't feeling so confident. You may have little moments this month where you'll want to slip back into that like space of feeling insecure and like viewing yourself the way that you did in that like past tense, right? But that feeling is, you're gonna be consciously aware that that pathway is leading down an empty road, and you're like, there is no purpose for this reaction anymore. It's not something that I use all the time, but it's something that is coming up enough to where it's like almost annoying. Like those things, those are the experiences and the things that I'm referencing that you are going to be transmuting this month. And that's really cool because I know we've been breaking it down more meticulously, but in like more layman's terms, it's like trimming off loose ends. Two of Swords, Seven of Cups. Okay, so we do have Mercury in our sign. It goes retrograde on the 14th. And then on the 28th, it retrogrades back into Libra. But I think there's some confusion that's playing out, that's creating like a mental mist, like a fog, right? The Seven of Cups always gives me that vibe of like, you don't know. You don't know. There's a lot of different paths that you want to go down. The Two of Swords also indicates this. There's a lack of direction, I feel, that you ended the month of September with, and that's following you into October. And I think it's gonna, kind of like last month, how we talked about, you're going to experience every corner of this energy. That's very much true this month as well. And it probably is going to be every month, right? Where there is a lack of clarity, where you felt you don't have a footing and you don't have a direction. And while there may be a lot of options in front of you and a lot of things that you could do, a lot of cups that you could choose to entertain and like invest your time into, still there's this hesitation because you don't know. Like, you can't get that warm fuzzy gut feeling when looking at any of these cups right now. And it's not to say that some of these cups aren't valid, it's the energy. You know how sometimes you like, there could be perfectly good options in front of you, but if you're like suspicious, you're going to be suspicious, right? Or when somebody approaches you and is like, okay, so would you rather have this or this, and like kind of give off an implication that there's like a right or wrong answer, when in reality, like, it's completely subjective. Are you tracking with me? I hope that makes sense. That's like what this mist is, right? It's taking what might be good viable options, but just because of the sheer nature of it, you're going to be questioning and second guessing everything going on. And again, I personally can really attest, because the past few days it has really felt like this. So I feel your pain. We're in it together. The Devil. This is where things clear up, I think. We have Pluto going direct in Capricorn on October 3rd. Pluto is our ruler, along with Mars, but we'll go with Pluto, right, for the modern ruler. Pluto being retrograde has taken all of this forward movement and all of this momentum that you've been working towards, right? And it's kind of I mean, it quite literally cranked the wheel backwards, winding it back. And with it being in Capricorn, Capricorn is, so task oriented and so goal oriented. If there's like sights locked on something, Capricorn is going to have no issue exerting the necessary efforts to accomplishing that thing. And so when that movement is moving backwards, whether you can help it or not, you could see how that could be really frustrating when you feel in your bones, like, again, this is displayed throughout the cards, you have this energy to transmute and send out, but you're kind of confused and not sure where to direct it. That's what like Pluto and Capricorn has been like, especially the last like week and a half. So when it goes direct on the 3rd, it is like the release of that rubber band. It does catapult you guys into this new space. This space that energetically and on some level, dimensionally, I feel like you guys have been. But it's just your physical body, the Wheel of Fortune. This vessel, this spaceship, that is catching up to that new plane, right? And it's just been because there are certain pathways, there are certain doorways, there are certain energetic alignments that form openings. Let's see. So the Wheel of Fortune, starting on the 3rd, things really pick up. There's a lot. So the first, we have the full moon. Second, Venus moves into Virgo, and then Pluto goes direct on the 3rd. So the first 3 days of October are pretty big shifts. And the Wheel of Fortune is, to me, when I think of like the right alignments, I think of this card. There's something about like it being an actual wheel, and I just think of like a big lock that like, click into place, like the cogs on a wheel. October 3rd and on, the energy is kind of locked in place and dropped into a space where it can align with you in this physical realm. And when it does, it's something that upon immediate contact with the thing, whatever it is, there's a sense of familiarity. This, again, the 7 of Cups, like I said earlier, it's not that some of these cups in front of you aren't good, viable options. It's just the vibe right now. So the 6 of Cups, these are cups that you, whether you recognize them in this field or it's something that feels like you've known forever. It could be a person, place, thing, experience, something that you love doing, that you just pick up doing, and you just, like, you can naturally just do it perfect, even though you haven't had any formal training in this life, right? Let's see. Okay. The Hierophant. Yeah. There's a elevating of your guys's status. There's an elevation in how you guys view yourself. What do I mean? It's one thing to feel all of this change going on and to be able to adopt it and move through the the motions of it and grow into it, right? It's another thing when that energy then merges with you on a level to where it isn't separable. This is now ingrained. This is like, these are new settings that are operating to full capacity in your brain the way that like your old settings used to. This is getting over that hump of you trying to initiate and maintain certain elements of your life, right? And this just being your lifestyle. Like, it's something that muscle memory, it's the way you think, the way you act, the way you speak, how you think of yourself when you walk in a room, which dictates how you look and stand and appear when you walk into a room. All these micro movements and behaviors are reprogrammed now. And this change is happening this month, October 3rd and on, really. But I mean, we're the first of the month. The shift is so notable that I want to say from today on. And I think that's why the reading couldn't be done until right now. Oh, wait, hold on. I put these down. There we go. The reading could only be done till now. Could only be done now because of the energetic alignment of it all, right? 8 of Cups. The truth is, the 8 of Cups has been a real close to home card for a while now for you guys. There's been a lot of things that you've had to leave behind. Qualities within yourself, other people, other experiences like work, situations, anything like that. There's been a lot of this transformative energy in your life. The Hierophant is what you it's whether you recognize it now or not, or recognized it then or not. This energy, the Hierophant energy, and the qualities that you now get to uphold, and the values that you get to now uphold in your life are the very things that were calling you to make the jump in the first place. You know, remember how last month we talked about, you know, that version of you in the future that's already experienced all the things that you want to experience, right? This is like a mini moment of that. The person you are today is the person that kind of gave that signaling call to when you started making these major transformations in your life. This is what you've been working towards, right? And it's nice because you finally get to feel it integrate in a way to where it feels native to you, right? That's the other big thing with the Hierophant that I want to get across is, you know, when you if you move cities or you move states, you're not like a local, right? You're a, what's it called? Like an implant, I think they call them, right? But then once you've lived there for like 10 years, 15 years, then you kind of get a little bit more higher up on that list. Like, you don't have to say that you're like an implant anymore. Like, you've been there for enough time, you've settled into that space. That's kind of like what's going on right now with you guys. These changes, what do I mean by changes? Because that could be very broad. I mean like how you enter relationships, how you enter friendships, how you uphold and set boundaries in work situations, in personal situations, stuff like that, stuff that maybe right now, or leading up until this moment, so the past couple of months, sorry about that, but leading up until this moment, like for a couple of months, I feel like you'll vacillate between sitting in the Empress energy because you own it, and there are elements of you that own it and that are in that space, but because you haven't been native to it, you've been implementing these things, you've been changing the settings, doing the work, there's still that element of you that wants to enforce your old settings. It's going to try to tell you that you are not worthy of this level of care for yourself. You're not worthy of being treated like the Empress, right? That changes. There's now a marriage between who you think you are and who you know you are and who you are. And that's what the Hierophant represents. Is these are no longer things that you hesitate to communicate. These are things, Ace of Swords, that you can communicate with ease. That you have no problem verbalizing. And for Scorpio, a lot of it can be verbal. There are a few, like the sword cards are really prominent. There's only 3: 7 of Swords, 2 of Swords, and Ace of Swords. The sword cards are very prominent because they have to deal with you. They have to deal with your treatment of self, right? The 7 of Swords is you not feeling like you're worthy. The 2 of Swords is you not feeling capable of making a decision. The Ace of Swords is you knowing and being supported in making the decision to vocalize and verbalize what it is you need to verbalize. You guys don't really need any help in the emotions department, right? But the vocalizing and communicating what it is that you're feeling is something that is getting an upgrade, right? And you realize that the easiest and the fastest way sometimes, not all the times, but in your case, and then I feel like with the lessons you've been learning around enforcing your standards of living, right, on yourself, which then means that you need to enforce boundaries and all of that. A lot of your hang-ups in that department have to do with communication. Okay. But this is good. It's a read, but it's good because this is like the moment that you guys have been waiting for, that like over the hump moment, and it comes this month. 4 of Wands. It happens this month. The 4 of Wands, what sticks out to me is the Wands' only purpose. Their only purpose is to uphold the tarp on top, but it's not a tarp. It's like a floral arrangement. That's the purpose. The wands are signifying a stable structure for there to be something draped across. It's the type of fulfillment and the type of satisfaction that you guys have been really deeply craving, because it has to do with you being deeply satisfied with the position that you've settled yourself into, which is a representation of how hard you guys have had to work. So there is a lot of this like homecoming type energy, right? I mean, when I think of the 4 of Wands, I think of like a happy home. I think of like a newlywed couple. I mean, if I'm just looking at the card, right? or like a celebration of sorts. Like they just got married and are moving into this like castle together, right? I think of like a homecoming. It's like you coming home to the life that you knew was waiting on the other side of all this really deep transformation. And it's beautiful because it's happening right as we enter your season. Like I said, the beginning of the reading, like trimming loose ends. This really is like trimming loose ends. You're cutting off the little frayed edges of the sweater, and by the time we enter in your season at the end of the month, you are truly in this next level space to where anything new that comes your way isn't a risk, isn't a not sorry, not a risk, isn't a threat to any of your new programming because it's already set in place. It's not something that you need to that you're still working at. It's stuff that you've implemented. You're good. You're ready for the next set of tests, of challenges. You're ready for the next season of growing, right? That's all those things mean. If you took the words tests or challenges as like negative things, that's on you. I view those things as not in a negative way. I think we're constantly testing and challenging ourselves, and if we don't challenge ourselves, then the universe will. And we've all been on the universe's side before, on their side of the payout. So choose wisely. But I love you so much, Scorpio. It's a really beautiful month. If you're still feeling not so great the first couple days of October, just give it time. The full moon is a really intense period, and especially with it being in Aries, it could be a lot. So just chill. But definitely by the time we pass the weekend into next week, you'll be feeling really good. Love you. See you next month.